the typical college freshman can read material in their book or in their notes and effectively be learning what they're reading. Okay. 5 minutes, says Chris. 25 minutes? Hour? Now let me ask, anybody think more than an hour? How long? By the way, I had a guy, last time I did this, he said, oh, I can do it in about 6 hours. I said, well, then I found out he is a medical resident, just finished medical school. His wife was in my class, and indeed, my daughter's 4th year med. Oh yeah, 4 or 5 hours, but that's not typical, I can tell you, okay? Anybody less than 5 minutes? Okay, so we'll get 5 to maybe 4 or 5 hours. The study was done through the University of Michigan. They asked students to do the following thing. When you're ready to study, you've got all your materials, you're back in your little dorm room or your place you live, check your watch, start working. The moment you feel that sense of, I've read it, but it's not coming through, it's like, I'm wasting my time. We all get that feeling. Note what time it is. Record that, bring it back. And they had many, many hundreds of freshmen and sophomores do this, and then somebody took the time to compile it. And typically, right about 25 to 30 minutes. By the way, it's also true of lectures, and you've all proved it to yourself. You come into a lecture, you're really alert, check the clock, and about 25 after, it's like, yeah, and I see it in every class I teach, but how long do we teach? 50 minutes. And yet, probably most of the learning, if it's going to happen, is in the first 25 to 30. Okay. I'm going to talk about a person, because I also like to teach by anecdote. A woman named Jeanette. I was a junior at Western, she was a freshman. Because I was a junior, I could live off campus. Those days, colleges were your parents in absentia. She had to live in a dorm because she didn't have a relative in town. We were dating. She got her first quarter at Western, a D average, 1.0, 15 credits a D. She decided she really needed to buckle down, plus the school said, if you don't make it up, you're going to be kicked out. So the second quarter of her freshman year, she set the following goal: to study for 6 hours a night, nonstop, 6 to midnight, Sunday night through Thursday night. Friday, Saturday, she could party. The rest of the week, she was going to study. Now, one would assume, my gosh, going from little studying to 6 hours a night, 5 nights of the week, she should have aced everything. You want to guess her grade point, second quarter? 0.0. She failed every class. And this is why telling people to study more does not necessarily help. In some cases, it might actually worsen their performance. What I want to do is show you graphically what I'm talking about. Let's say this is efficient studying, and I know there are no numbers there, but higher means more efficient, lower means low or no efficiency. And this axis, we're looking at time. Here's what happens for the average student. For her, 6 o'clock in the evening, after her supper at the residency dining hall, she plopped herself down at her little study area and started studying. But here's what happened. By about 6:30, she was in a major slump. But what was her goal? To study 6 hours. So she continued to sit at her little desk and stare at pages until midnight. She was at her desk 6 hours. How long did she actually study? About 20, 30 minutes. Now, there's a simple conduct in psychology that all of you are aware of. Things that are reinforced, we tend to do more of. Things that are punished or ignored, we tend to do less of. And we operate by those principles to a large degree. If you're sitting there for 6 hours, are you feeling good? No. Once you get here, you're looking at your book going, I hate geography. I hate literature. I hate psychology. All the things we're trying to get you to fall in love with, you're hating it. And so her actual good studying was followed by 5.5 hours of pain and misery. I would bet you, I don't know for a fact, that as the quarter progressed, she sat down, and finally she was done before she even started. She sat down and just stared at a book, and she flunked every class. Now, had she taken this little seminar, or had figured things out on her own, she'd know what to do. First rule, the moment you start to slide, you're shoveling against the tide. What you need to do is what? Take a break. And here's what's cool about it. You can study for a half hour. It doesn't take a half-hour break to recharge your batteries. For most people, about 5 minutes. And this is where you go away, do something fun for 5 minutes. Call a friend, talk to a child, talk to a parent, a roommate. Enjoy some music. Do something you enjoy. And actually say, this is my treat for having studied for 30 minutes effectively. Go back, and here's what happens. Your efficiency is nearly 100%. Study a half hour, take a break. Study a half hour, study a half hour. Now, had she done that over a course of 6 hours, she would have got about 5.5 hours of serious studying and about a half hour of total break time. I really don't believe she would have flunked out. Now, I get students complaining, I don't have enough time to study. Look for a break at work. Look for a break at home. Those little 15, 20 minutes can be very efficient if you apply them efficiently. Unfortunately, sometimes it's really tough to get those moments, but you need to build them in somehow. You've got to have at least some time to study. It's not going to happen through osmosis. Now, I'm going to ask you a final question. Let's say you studied till midnight. What do you want to do after your last study 20, 30 minutes? No, not yet. You want to give yourself a big treat, okay? Whenever your studying time is done, plan something special. Now, for most women, especially with kids, it's a Calgon bath with candles and the bathroom door locked, and the statement, if you bother me, I will take your head off. This is where guys go, what? Yeah, moms have no privacy. Kids walk in while you're using the toilet, while you're in the tub. They'll bring their friends with them, won't they? Dads don't put up with that. When dads are in the bathroom, it's lock the door, tough luck, go elsewhere. For you guys, I'll give you mine. This is politically incorrect. I liked beer, okay? My goal was to knock out all my studying, go to the Iron Bowl Tavern in Bellingham, knock down a couple beers for my treat. Now my buddies, they'd say, Lobdell, how are you getting straight A's? Well, I'd study starting about 3 in the afternoon. By 9 o'clock at night, when pictures went on cheap, I'd done all my studying. I went in and enjoyed my beer. These yahoos started drinking in the afternoon, then went to the tavern, planning to go home and study. You know that's not going to happen, okay? You're not going to study, and even if you do what's called state-dependent memory, you'll typically only remember if you're intoxicated. And I don't recommend getting drunk before a test. It's kind of a stupid thing. If you plan your day right, you can have those little study breaks, but the coolest part is this. Because you're now reinforcing it with those little breaks and something fun, you extend it. And you'll find you can go 30, 40, 50, an hour and a half. And this is training. Those of you who go on to advanced degrees, you're going to have to study incredible lengths of time without taking a break, because you've got to get it done, like my daughter in med school. It's just amazing. I couldn't do it now. Well, actually, I wouldn't do it. You're training yourself, and if you do it right, it becomes progressively easier. Okay, next question. How many of you have a true study or library in your place of residence? Okay. Two of you, if I'm seeing correctly. I've always envied that. A quiet place to actually do reading or studying, okay? I'm going to make a prediction. Many of you study in your bedroom. Okay? How many of you study in your bedroom? We'll raise high so everybody can see. That's where I studied a lot, especially when I did go to community college. If you don't study in your bedroom, I bet some of you study at the dining room table / kitchen table or bar. How many study at the dining, kitchen, bar? Okay. Now, if you don't study in those two places and you don't have a study or library, you study in the family room, rec room, living room, the place where your TV and stereo is, your couch, your easy chair. How many study there? Okay. Now, some of you might actually drive to a school or library. Need to do that? Go to okay, a few of you do. I still remember living at home, going to Highline Community College. My folks bought me a little desk. I still have it. Okay? Little desk, and I'd come home, because I did work then at Albertsons. Typically we got off at 9, get home about 10. And I'd start studying. I still remember reading Billy Budd, okay, Melville. I'm sitting there studying, and my eyes are just, And then the bed started calling to me. Marty, come lie upon me. Now, those of you who've studied the Greek, the idea of the sirens calling sailors to the rocks, oh, it's real. I'd hear the bed call me, and I'd finally go, oh, I'll just lie down for a moment. Next thing, my mom would be yelling, Marty, you're late for your English class. And he's like, oh, God, I didn't read Billy Budd, and I'm screwed. Let me ask you, what's the primary function of a bedroom? What's the secondary function? Good! Most groups go. I go, take Psych 2 or 225 to learn about it. It's functional, okay? Primary function of a dining table. Eating. Primary function of a living area. Okay? Recreation, socializing, right? Now, a lot of students don't realize how much we're controlled by environmental cues. How many of you been to the Tacoma Mall? Funny, isn't it? Why did you raise your hand? Have you ever been to Tacoma? You answered. Why didn't you go like this? Why? Because if I'm asking the entire class, you've been trained to do what? And you don't even think about it. How many been to Tacoma Mall? Hands go up, okay? But if I walked up to you, Chris, you ever been to Seattle? Totally stupid, right? When you're talking face to face, you respond verbally, okay? When you ask a group, hands come up. Now, here's what's bad. Now that I've tricked you, you won't raise your hand. It's like, I'm not going to raise my hand. Okay? But can you see how powerful it is? Without thinking, because we're in a classroom, how many been to the mall? Hands shoot up. Same is true of going in your bedroom and trying to study. You're in the bedroom. Now, a piece of research done at the University of Hawaii. Researchers asked the students, what's the biggest problem with studying? They said, we can't get into it. The university in question had primarily dorm rooms. Very few commuter students to the university. Most of you have seen a dorm room? Oh, okay. Most of you have seen a dorm room. They're usually rectangular if it's a duplex. One side bed, another side of bed, everything kind of mirror image. Study area, right? You've got a closet or wardrobe. So it's real interesting. In one room, you sleep, you groom, you talk with people, you socialize, you study, you snack. You're all in one room. It's a multi-purpose room. And yet you're supposed to study. If your door's open, what happens? Everybody, hey, Lobdell, what's up? You know, and then they got to come in and talk to. Very quickly, you can't get to study. Well, the professors heard the students couldn't get into study, but they knew what the dorms looked like. In the Hawaiian dorms, all of the rooms had a gooseneck lamp. So the professor said, we're going to try a little experiment. Take that lamp, make a little sign and put it on it, study lamp. Okay? Use it only for studying. You don't dress by it, you don't have DS sessions by it, you don't snack by it, you don't clean the room by it, nothing. Use the other lights for all other functions. Here's the way it works, and it's so easy. Every one of you can do this. Get a little lamp, you probably have one already. If you don't, my gosh, yard sale, garage sale, you pick them up for nothing. Get that lamp, and it becomes your study lamp. So if you have to study in your bedroom, turn your desk away from the bed. That's the like, how many have been to the mall? It makes you want to go to sleep. By the way, you can't study in the bed. It's also bad for your back if you know about posture. Turn your back to the bed, have a blank wall, have your lamp, have your books ready to go, because you can futz away a lot of time getting ready, can't you? How many of you can futz and futz? Yeah. You're ready to go, turn on the lamp, and start studying. The moment you lose your edge, 15, 20, 30 minutes later, turn the lamp off, get up, and leave the desk. Well, you're training yourself to study while seated there. And it becomes increasingly automatic as the raising of the hand. You sit, turn the lamp on, and you're ready to go. It's like magic. The students who did that were 1 grade point higher the next term compared to the control group that didn't do it. 1 grade point simply by creating a study area. Now, if you study in the kitchen, dining, remove all food cues, because I know what happens there. You start thinking, turkey in the fridge. Yeah, Swiss cheese in the fridge. Oh yeah, sandwich time. How many of you have studied and created sandwiches? It takes about a half hour to make a really good one. You eat it, so damn good, what do you do? Make another one. And pretty soon, not only are you not studying, but you're getting the spread going, okay? You're really frustrated then. The living area, I'm going to tell you, you can do this experiment. You're trying to study in the living room, and you're focused, and other people are listening to music, watching a movie, watching TV. They won't leave you alone. Hey, Marty, look, it's really good. Excuse me, I'm studying. And then they get angry at you. Well, boo on you, too. You can't study in the living area. It's not designed for that unless you're all by yourself. And you turn off the TV, turn down the stereo so it's truly background. If you're singing along to your favorite song, you're not studying. You're singing along to the song. Your brain has to be focused to be really studying, not time sharing back and forth between singing and studying. So living areas, very tough to create. But if that's where you have to do it, you bring a little study lamp in, everything else off, turn on your study lamp, and create a study there. You get the idea? Now, I'm going to go through a lot of suggestions. Break it up into small chunks, reinforce it, simple to do. Create a study area, simple to do. And you'll be amazed if you take these ideas and do them. I'm going to make a challenge to all of you. It's so easy to sit through a presentation and say, yeah, that sounds good, and then walk away and do nothing. Technically, as a psychologist, if it doesn't change your behavior, you haven't learned it. It's just in your head. To be a true learning experience, you have to behave differently. So my hope is you all make a promise. I'll try at least 1 or 2 of what I talk about today. And when you find out it works, say, gosh, I'll try a 3rd one, maybe a 4th. I went back to grad school in the mid-'80s. 2nd time around, I actually studied.